Hello everyone, how's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and I'd like to present a complete beginner's guide here at the end of 2022 for Underrail. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to make a new character, and I'm going to walk you through the beginning of the game, and I'm going to explain tips, tricks, the controls, character creation, difficulty setting, and enough about Underrail to get you through some of the more difficult learning curve aspects and some of the old school sensibilities of the game that might be prohibitive for new players if they're looking to pick this game up, because the overall intention here is to create a non-spoilery guide. I'm not going to spoil anything about the story, about, where you should go. After just the beginning initial phases, it's just meant to get you going, to get more players into this game. I recently completed this game and the Expedition DLC on a Let's Play series, which will be linked in the description below if you want to see me start the very first time myself and play all the way through the game, over 210 episodes long. It's quite a saga. It took me 2 years to beat this game. And I also review the game if you want to see a non-spoilery review and make a decision on should I buy this game, like is this the kind of game for me. That will be linked in the description below also. And what I can say is that if you like classic cRPGs in the vein of Fallout, these kind of top-down isometric RPGs that are very, very story-driven, back in that kind of like Baldur's Gate feel, then you will enjoy this game. But it is a hard game. There are some uncompromising aspects of the game design that you have to come to terms with, and I hope to make those easier here. So we're going to start and fire up with those provisos in mind and just make a new character. We're going to start a new game, and we're going to play the game on normal difficulty, okay? You can play it on easy, you can play it on hard, and you can be wild and go for dominating, which a lot of pipe workers do when they get into this game and want to go for it. We're going to play normal. This is the way I played through the game, and it says right here, this is the way the game is meant to be played, and we're going to kind of move with this theme. We're going to play the game as it is intended to be played by the developers, okay? So I'm going to select normal difficulty. You can choose whatever you want, but I do not recommend if this is your first time playing on hard or dominating. The game is hard enough on normal, I feel, so don't go here unless you just want to be frustrated and die a lot. Then the next major choice you need to make is the experience system. Now, as has been explained to me by some of the pipeworker friends that have followed my Let's Play, this is one of the most contentious choices within the Underrail community. Should you go classic XP system or oddity XP system? The choice is entirely up to you, of course. I am going to choose the oddity XP system for these reasons. Number one, this is what I did on my playthrough, so I'm the most familiar with it. Number two, it says on the wiki that the developers intend this as the experience system for the game. This is the way they want it to be played. It also is defaulted when you select it, so I kind of picked it as the default system, but perhaps most importantly of all, the oddity experience system rewards exploration. And if this is your first time playing the game, I really think you should take this. Each oddity gives you lore about the game. Some of it might mean nothing, some of it might mean something, and it just makes the that part of the game more rewarding. But also, you are encouraged to explore, to look through containers, to go through bodies, and to go into strange areas, to find oddities to level up, which will help you enjoy the game more, see more of the game's content. Now, if you don't like that idea of getting experience only from finding items, which are called oddities, that could be on a dead body, they could be in a treasure chest, they could be in a barrel somewhere, they could be in a pile of rubble on the ground, If you would rather just have experience from killing things and from using skills, then go with the classic. But I recommend the oddity to incentivize exploration. So we're going to go normal difficulty, oddity-based XP system, and accept. Okay, so here you get into the character creation aspect of the game. And I wanted to create this guide also for the reason that it is possible, if you do horribly with your attribution of your skill points, your stat points, and your feats, to come to a point in the game where you are not strong enough to proceed. So you can kind of like brick yourself, potentially. I didn't do it myself, and the main piece of advice I would offer for you is you cannot do everything. You cannot be, average at everything and be successful, in my opinion, especially in your skills. You need to isolate a few skills that you really want to crank up to guarantee some success, or to at least have a better chance of being successful with them. Okay? Now, on your stats and your abilities, I actually do feel like you have a little bit more wiggle room to mess around with it, but at the same time, I think you want to pick a few that you pump up depending on what kind of a character you want to be, and you need to pick that now. So this isn't a game that just starts you out and says, okay, do you want to be a ranger? Do you want to be a tank? Do you want to be a spellcaster? Like, you can build your own character. People go wild with this. On the Steam Workshop, on the message boards, Reddit, the wiki, you will find people who have made amazingly awesome builds that are really, really specific. And you can look into that if you wish, but I think it's best played just doing it kind of without that information and making your approximation on what you want to do. So here's my options for you. Again, this is all based on my experience. It's not the only way to play the game. It's just a way to play the game to help get newer players who may have been intimidated by the learning curve into this awesome game. So you could be a gunner. You could be somebody who focuses on firing guns at range. There's guns all over the game of various kinds, long guns, handguns, chemical weapons, okay? So you could go in that direction if you choose. You could also go melee. You could want to have a big, like, sledgehammer and just run up and hit people in the face with a knife or a hammer wearing armor or something like that. You could go for, a crossbow person with grenades and stuff, more of a hunter, trapper kind of character. You could do a hybrid of all of these things, or you could go Psionics, and Psionics even has different paths that you can take. Now, for this introduction, I'm going to go with what I know, and I'm going to build a Psionic-based character. And within Psionics, you can kind of be more like a... And I'm going to try to do this without as few spoilers as possible, but basically, you can go for a more like pure wizard or psionic type character that uses their mind and doesn't do any kind of combat, like no guns, no fighting, maybe some grenades, but just you're using psionics as your DPS. Or you could go for more of like a monk, where you fight in hand-to-hand combat and you amplify your abilities with psionics. And that's another path. I'm going to go for the pure, like, glass cannon, raining down, psionic abilities from afar, more like a spellcaster type character with this build, okay? So, when you mouse over your abilities, you'll see a description of what the abilities do, okay? And if you want more information, of course, it's all available on the wiki if you want to get it really into the nitty-gritty of the stats. But again, my advice to you is to go into this blind and just enjoy it, and don't try to min-max. I am not going to be talking about min-maxing with my development here. I'm going to be talking about just some general pointers that will put you in the right direction, but this is not like the optimal build that you have to do. It's just a way of doing it, okay? So for a psionic character, your important stats are will and intelligence, okay? So intelligence determines how many psionic abilities you can basically memorize in your spell pool or your, invocable psionic abilities that you can have at the ready, and it governs psionic regeneration as well as will does this too. So like if you want your points to go up faster, both of these help that. But intelligence helps you with how many abilities you can have memorized, and will helps you with the potency of those abilities. So they're both important. Now, I'm going to just offer some advice to you on other abilities. I did not make my character at the start 100% into will and intelligence. I actually put some points into strength, okay? And even a little bit, of agility to make my character more well-rounded. You don't have to do this, okay? You can just min-max and go heavy into your primary stats if you want, and that's fine. You can totally do this. Some of the considerations for why you wouldn't do that would be that there are, throughout the game, checks that you will make, just like in Fallout, where there will be some kind of interaction where it's like, you need a strength of this level or above to be able to take this path or to move this obstacle. And if you don't meet that check, you just can't go that way or do that thing or interact with another person in that way. Have that dialogue option, etc. So there is, a reason to be a little bit more spread out with some of these. Now, I'm going to go ahead and pump up will and intelligence right like this. Additionally, strength also just affects how much you can carry, and inventory management is a huge part of this game. So if you want to be able to carry more, you could be stronger, but it doesn't do much for you outside of that for this character build that we're going for. So even though in my Let's Play, I did put points into strength and dexterity, agility, constitution, I considered like being more rounded. I didn't put points in all of those, by the way. I just kind of was more well-rounded. I don't necessarily feel like you have to do that. And later in the game, you will get consumables, even items that can kind of boost some of your abilities. So you can like use a consumable and put on some equipment that changes your ability such that you can get through an ability check, potentially. So that's a workaround. But understand, like I said, you do not want to be so average that you can't do anything, and there are certain parts of the game and paths of the game that you will just never be able to get to with all play styles. Like, you can't do everything, so don't try or you will get punished for it. So I like having a big will and a big intelligence, and I am going to put 1 point into strength just so I can carry a little bit more around. This is just a quality of life thing. It is not going to help me with combat, except for the fact that it will let you use some heavier armor, potentially, okay? So, like, it's nice in that sense, but that's it, right? So I'm going to kind of have more stacked stats here and just 1 pip down here, all right? And now we're going to choose our picture. You can pick, whatever awesome portrait you want. You could be a male or a female. And I'm going to go with, this is the picture I used in my Let's Play. It was the closest that had a beard of the choices available. But this is going to be fine for our character in comp tutorial. Okay. So this is in comp tutorial, and he's going to try to survive in Underrail, all right? So now, after you've done your stats and you've got your name, picked your gender and your portrait, it's time to go to skills. So you start out with 120 skill points. This is a ton, right? So, like, this can be prohibitive, and you will get 40 skill points every time you level up. Again, I'm not going to explain all of these for you in this beginner's guide. I'm just going to tell you, read through them on your own and find out the benefit that you are looking for, right? So we are going psionics. So you go down here to the bottom and you'll see psionics here. Now, even within psionics, the game really wants you to focus on and rewards you for being more focused on just a couple of disciplines or even the singular discipline of psionics. But I'm going to tell you what, I boosted them all, okay, and used them all throughout my playthrough. I was kind of a generalist with my psionic abilities. I had to pay for doing that because my abilities cost more. You get an efficiency benefit, like your abilities will cost less psionic points if you are focused, but the functionality of having all of these at my disposal was super useful. All right. By the way, I do want to say I'm playing with the Expedition DLC activated, but you don't have to play it this way. You can play just the base game and be fine. The Expedition does not come into play until the end game or much, much later into the game. So it's not even a factor. You can actually just play the game, I think, and see if you like it before getting it. But I recommend it. I think it's great. And if you have the base game, this tutorial will still work for you because none of the Expedition content comes into play starting out. So after I put 10 points into psionics, you'll see that over here in parentheses, what's going on is I'm getting a synergy bonus, okay? And what that means is because I have thought control to a certain point, I get a synergy bonus to these other abilities, which modifies and improves my ability here, right? So like if I go up to 10 right here, you'll see that even thought control itself gets a benefit because we're getting 10% of this ability added as a synergy to the other abilities within this category, these other skills, right? So like if I just go evenly to 10, you'll see we go up to 14, and if I go to 10 here, we go to 15. So we have an effective 15 on everything. Now there is a maximum that you can raise a skill. It's capped by your level, and so I'm going to put 15 into all of these right now, okay? And this is just very, very general, all right? Now, you don't have to do that, and we might adjust that, but let's just do that, all right? So I'm going to tell you what. Min-max, I wasted a lot of points with my skills. I'm going to just try to not spoil anything, but be helpful to you. If you want to be good at doing anything, you got to go hard into it with your skill points, all right? So I chose lockpicking, stealth, okay, as my subterfuge. Stealth was invaluable for this character because it let you get the drop on people or avoid conflict when you wanted to. You have to constantly raise this to even be close to sneaky, but that's what I did. Lockpicking is super good. I'm going to max it out so that you can open containers. I would say you want to pick either lockpicking or hacking. You could go for both if you want all the treasure, but it's going to be a lot of points that you're putting into that. Now, I'm going to also tell you that it is worth your while in the beginning, okay, to go into biology with a psionic character, and a little bit of chemistry, electronics and mechanics as crafting. You don't have to go crazy here, but you want to do this so that you can create the consumable potions you need to restore your psionic points. In the beginning of the game, your money is limited, and being able to craft these from items that you harvest out in Underrail is useful, all right? So as I'm just kind of maxing out my points, I'm going to start rolling some of these back so that I can afford to put some points in things. The other main category I recommend is throwing, because this governs your ability to use grenades. And I found that with a psionic character, grenades were an absolutely necessary supplement to your kit. Grenades are on cooldowns based on their type, so you can get some shrapnel-based grenades, some incendiary grenades that are on the same cooldown. You can get electromagnetic pulse grenades that are on a different cooldown, and you can get flashbang grenades to kind of disorient humanoid targets or any targets that are like organic that are using their eyeballs. And that is helpful too, but you will be so inaccurate if you don't put points into throwing. It caused me so much frustration, so I recommend putting points into throwing. A lot of people that I've seen are of the belief that they just will quick save the game and load if they miss and get around putting points into throwing. You can certainly do that, but it will be a huge time commitment where like you'll be halfway through a fight and then you'll need to reload it and just play the whole thing again. So I recommend just maxing out your throwing. All right. So we have max throwing, max stealth, max lockpicking, and we have max psionic abilities. And now I'm going to just kind of put some points into these crafting abilities so that when we do level up, we can see what point we want to take these to. So I'm not going to spoil, but I'm going to tell you that my build, when I was doing this, you don't take all of these all the way. Some of these you will carry throughout the entire game, okay? But not all of them. So for example, biology, once I got to a certain threshold with this and could get what I needed out of it, I never put points in it again, right? And I'm actually going to take my points out of temporal manipulation a little bit here. And the reason I'm doing that is you won't get temporal manipulation right off the bat. So I'm going to just scale this back so that I can put a few more points into some of these abilities right here. And I'm just going to tinker around. Now, again, I would recommend, this is all governing your crafting, okay? Like you want to build something that's mechanical or something that's electronic or something that's governed by tailoring, like your armor. Pick only one of these. It's too hard to do all of them unless you want to go real heavy on craft. And then you're going to have to decrease something else, okay? Additionally, I'm giving you what I did, right? But you can do whatever you want. Look at this. Do you want to be better at talking to people? Do you want to have social skills? Do you want to be able to pickpocket people? Do you want to be able to set and disarm traps? You know, are you interested in being real dodgy? Or do you want evasion? Do you want to actually be able to use guns and psionics as a hybrid? That's all totally fine. I'm just going hard psionics because that's what I did and I'm comfortable with, all right? I think that electronics is fine to raise. You don't necessarily have to raise it early, but it is going to be something you might want to raise with your psionic character if you want to craft the psionic headgear for yourself. It's a unique kind of psionic item that boosts your skills, and you can find them and just rely on what you find. But if you want to make your own customized specific headband that reflects what you're trying to do with your character, you will want electronics and biology. So I'm going in high throwing, high stealth, high lockpicking. We've got thought control, psychokinesis, metathermics, all psionic abilities, and I'm going to boost up biology and chemistry right now, and just have a little in electronics just as a placeholder to remind myself to boost this up, but it's not necessary right now. So I like where I'm at, and now I'm going to go over to feats. So feats, we have 2 feat points and you start with them, and I'm going to show you something that you'll see that some of your feats have ability requirements. So this is a reason why you might want to boost up some of your abilities in a more rounded way so you can unlock some feats, right? So like, for example, with what I've got right here, biology, this is biology 15, which I put in, gives me the doctor feat, which helps me Heal any wound with bandages and gain 25% more health from health restoring medications. This is very, very nice. And then versatility, which lets you kind of be more well-rounded with weapons. Sure step, strafe, snooping, recklessness, quick pockets. Gives you an extra utility slot and reduces the action point cost of equipping items during combat by 50%. That's actually really good. Conditioning reduces damage taken. Your non-critical hits deal additional mechanical damage because of expertise. This helps you dodge better. And it actually is nice because it reduces armor penalty, which is something we're going to have to worry about. This increases damage against rooted, stunned, and incapacitated targets and slowed targets, but it does not work for Psionics. This helps you carry more. And so we get 2 feats starting out, right? And none of them are based on Psionics right now, so we need to pick stuff that we think will help this character the most. All right, so snooping gives you perception 3 for looking for hidden passages and secrets. That's actually pretty good. But what I'm going to go with right now is Doctor and Quick Pockets. Pack Rat Hound is a very good consideration for your character, but Doctor just helps you heal better, which is super important. And then Quick Pockets is going to give us an extra utility slot. Now, we'll see what this is in a moment. But that's very, very useful for us as we want to have more grenades and things at the ready with our character. And yeah, let's do it. Fantastic, and we will accept this. All right, and here we are in the game itself. And I think that I'm not going to read the story too extensively to save time for you in this guide. I'm just going to kind of move through it pretty quickly, but if you want to pause and read everything, obviously feel free to do that. When you play the game, you will read the story. I'm not going to exhaust every dialogue option. I actually exhaust every dialogue option and read the game completely in my playthrough if you're interested in seeing that, but I'm going to just speed us through this. All right, says Hadrian Tanner. Last topic, earthquake repairs. And we're going to not skip the intro because I want to walk you through it. Continue. What's the situation at South Tunnel? I don't recommend skipping the intro. I think you'll want the help. Continue. Gorski says, gotta dig deeper to plant the explosives or we risk more damage to the tunnel. Vera Hale says, almost everyone is working shifts up there. Shouldn't be too long now. Tanner nods. How's security looking, Gorski? Got 1 man at the cave exit, and that's enough as far as I'm concerned. Automated security is strong there, and as long as we know the crossroad and the cove are clear, no one can sneak up on us. Also got 1 man in under passages, and he's been ordered not to open the gate no matter what. The last thing we need right now are those bloody lurkers sneaking up on us. I am going to just take a moment here and explain something to you. Let's get philosophical about Underrail as a game. It's a fantastic game. I really enjoyed it. It's got an amazing story, but it is not a hand-holding game. And what I mean by that is, any of these details that they're giving you in dialogue, you almost might want to make notes if you don't have a great memory, because they will never repeat these most of the time, and there will be no record of it in the game. So sometimes people will give you information that is contextual or lore-driven that you might want to know that you'll never be able to get again. So you just pay attention because these people won't repeat, all right? So, you know, we're learning about some locations and we're learning about lurkers and underpassages, all right? Everyone else is up on the platform securing workers and tunnels. Good, good. If no one else has anything to add, that will conclude this council meet. Actually, just one more thing. In case you weren't informed already, I admitted a new citizen to the station. That Incomp tutorial fellow? Hey, it's me! Yes, I think he'll be a good addition to the station. He and Wenzel are still at the range, but they should be done any moment now, I believe. You put too much trust in your tests, Tanner. All I care about is how he handles live action, not how many points he got. Well, we'll find out soon enough. Best put him to work immediately. We need all hands on deck right now. Indeed, that is all, Vera and Gorski. So now we're going to segue into the tutorial, which is us working with Wenzel and learning how to play the game. So Wenzel says, excuse me, as far as I'm concerned, we're done here. I got a few other things to do, but unless you'd like to have another go at the testing range, you have no reason to stay here any longer. So you can skip this tutorial if you want, just like you can skip the intro. Unless this is, you're playing it through again, I really recommend you don't do that. I'm going to start the tutorial. He's tired and he's like, fine, no problem, but it won't affect your results. So what this means is, like, you aren't being graded. Do whatever you want. Just learn the game and have fun right here. All right, he's going to open the gate and he's going to watch through the cameras. All right, so now we can take control of the game and you see the main game screen, and let me just walk you through everything that's going on here. All right, so what I want to show you is in the upper left, we're going to work top to bottom, left to right. You're going to see my own character. I am focused, which makes them more effective in ranged combat. It's lost when you moved. It's indicated by this eyeball icon. This is our character portrait. Below us is our health in red. We don't have any psionic points right now because you don't start being able to do this. You'll see in a moment, okay? Here in the upper right are different UI elements, and we're going to go through these. Character sheet, you can click on this creepy looking face or just push S to open up your character sheet, and this is exactly what we saw when we leveled up, but you can just see where you're at. You can mouse over everything. By the way, I guess I should have showed you this before, but with your feats, you can click show all feats instead of just what you're available to choose, and you will see like where some feats exist in terms of the requirements. So you can see like, oh, if I want burglar, I need a dexterity of 6, so maybe I want to raise my my dexterity. Or if I want, you know, some of these psionic abilities down here, like thermodynamicity, I'm going to need metathermics at 30, which is not possible right now. We're also going to need the psi ability, pyrokinesis, and cryokinesis, which we don't have. But you can start to get a sense of like where you want to build. Iron grip, my god, I need a strength of 11. Grenades, this is a great ability, but we need a dexterity of 6, so we might actually want to raise our dexterity so that we can get this if we are really into grenades, and so on. So you can do this to help plan for your character. We're going to look at it again when we level up, okay? But for now, we're okay with this, and we get to this by pushing S, and you can close it by pushing escape. Your combat stats, these 2 guns, push C to open this screen, and it'll show you kind of like what your health is at, your shield, we don't have one, how many action points you have, how many movement points you have. Here's your base abilities, and you can see if they've been modified positively or negatively. Here's your defensive abilities and your offensive abilities, okay? I'm going to close this. And your inventory, you push I for this. By the way, you can kind of like close any window by pushing the X button if you want. You can see here in my inventory, I am just wearing some shirt and pants. I have nothing else. You can sort your inventory by going to these different tabs. You can also click the sort button and then close this here. Now, we don't have, this brain would be psionic ability, but we don't have any right now. This kind of Swiss Army knife and wrench is the crafting screen. You can push this. You will learn blueprints for things with like USB drives basically throughout the game, and you will be able to craft once you get some recipes, but we don't have any. The notes panel, you push N or click this book to see, it's like your quest log. It's useful that it's there, but it is very, very minimal, and do not rely on this all the time to help you, but it's the best you can get. The oddity screen, you push O to open this, and here you can see all the oddities you've collected. This is the global map that you'll get by pushing M. All right, and it shows you we are in Southgate Station right now at this level, and there are different levels that we can go to on this screen. Help is F1. Escape opens this menu, and you can see right down here this kind of like pyramid with the eyeball tells you that you are in a controlled zone. So what this means is this area that we're in is governed by the authorities. So you will provoke animosity if you do certain things, like if you steal from people, if you set off traps, if you attack people, all right? If you plant traps or explosives, don't do these in this area. Now, over here on the left, you'll see the long. I can scroll it up and down. I can make it bigger or smaller. Down here in the lower right, you can speed up or slow down the game by clicking the left or right arrows, or just by pushing plus or minus, okay? And you'll see that, look at that fan in the background. You'll see it slows down, and if I speed it all the way up, it goes crazy. I usually play at 5 speed, but right now we're going to play at 2. If you want to be careful in the game, just slow the speed down, all right? Now, you can always enter combat at any time by pushing the enter key, all right? And you go into combat, and you'll notice in the bottom right, this combat bar has opened up, and it shows you your movement points in yellow and your action points in 50. Now, I don't actually want to fight, so I'm going to push enter again to leave combat. You can also go into combat by just clicking the button that's in the lower right, but it's covered up by my screen logo, but you can see as I mouse over, it says begin combat. Now, at the bottom in the center here, you have your quick attacks that you have mapped to the number keys here. Like I have attack, burst, stealth, and pickpocket. I also have my equipped weapons in either hand here, and then these are my quick inventory items where I would put grenades or other utility slots, items that I want right here, but I have nothing in them. And above this is my experience bar. I need 4 experience to raise a level. Alright, now I'm going to quickly adjust my action bars because I don't want some of these on here. I don't want burst down here, for example, so I'm just going to drag it off. I do want stealth, and I don't want pickpocket. So I'm going to put stealth over here, and have attack over here. Now you can see in between stealth and my unarmed attack, which is my selected weapon. If I go to my inventory, you see you have like a right and a left hand, which correspond to these right here, and you can change your weapon set by selecting which you have equipped. Now I'm going to click this quick invoker, and you can open this by clicking it or pushing F, and it just shows you like what abilities or attacks you currently have, and you can perform them from this screen, or you can drag them down to the hotbar and map them there. Alright, I'm going to push F5 to quick save the game, and I'm going to just left click. So you move in this game by clicking around, and this game is real time, but you can always pause the game to fight by pushing enter to go into combat mode, okay? Once you go into combat mode, the game becomes turn-based. And we're on the intercom, and he says, "Can you hear me?" "Yes, we can." "Now pick up your weapons and armor from the cabinet." Alright, and it tells you right here, push tab to highlight all interactable objects, or Z to reverse the order of highlighted objects. Contents of any container can be picked up by either double-clicking them in the container window or dragging them into your inventory, which can be opened in a separate window by pressing I. You can also push A to take all items from a container. All hotkeys presented in this tutorial are default values and can be changed in the options menu. So he says there will be 3 bots that are going to fight against us, so we need to fight them. So we need to equip the armor and utilities by double-clicking on them from our inventory or dragging them over to our paper doll. You can have 2 weapons equipped at the same time, and you can select the primary by clicking on its icon in the action bar, which we just looked at with the fist. Alright? The left side of the inventory window represents the contents of your belt, and this is where you put utility items like grenades or special crossbow bolts. That's why we took quick pockets to have that extra slot. Alright, so he says, "Let me know when you're ready," and we're going to open this weapons locker and these shelves. Now, let me explain to you basically that what we see going on right here is a yellow hand over the weapons locker and the shelves. What this means is that I can freely interact with this in the controlled zone. If this hand is red, that means it's stealing, and if anybody sees me, it's bad. They're gonna turn aggressive. So let's open this. We have permission to do so, and we can take out whatever weapons we want. Like they said, we can push I to open our inventory, and using these two windows, we can drag or drop between them, all right? So I'm going to select, for example, a crossbow, and I'm going to put these bolts in my inventory. And by default, I'll just use these bolts. You can see up here above my experience bar, this ammunition window has opened up to show me how much ammo I have left before I need to reload. I can also take the gun if I want and take these bullets. And then if I click on this, you'll see I switch to the gun, and now I have bullets up here, but I need to reload. There's nothing in my magazine right now. I'm going to go back to my crossbow, and then I can put on this insulated anti-rifle vest if I would like. When you mouse over anything, all right, you'll see that there's a full description of it, and it tells you, number one, what it is. It's an armor suit in yellow text. There's flavor text describing, you know, what this is made of, what it looks like. Then there's the resistances. It tells you how well it insulates you from damage. So it's telling you that it gives you mechanical and cold resistance, okay? So when we see the resistances on the armor, it's read like this. Mechanical is in white, and all of the damage types are color-coded. 18%, and that 18% is damage resistance. And then there's a slash, and there's a number 5, and that is the damage threshold. So when you get incoming damage that's mechanical, the higher of the two is applied. Either you take 18% of the incoming damage off, or you take 5 off, whichever number is higher, okay? And the same is true for the cold, right? Now, this green text means that the 200% will double the 5, which is the damage threshold number. So we'll actually be able to block 10, mitigate 10 incoming mechanical damage, unless the 18% is higher, which is unlikely, from bullets. So that's very good. Then it says armor penalty, okay? And it's 60%, which is quite prohibitive. Now, armor penalty of 60% is substantial. Armor penalty reduces your dodge, evasion, stealth, and movement points by a percentage. So the heavier the armor is, the more that's going to be. So you don't really mitigate armor penalty in this game. It's more like it's just reflecting the fact that if you wear heavy stuff, you're not going to be fast. You're not going to be sneaky. And so you just have to deal with that. Like, if you want to be dodging a lot, be really stealthy, and have a lot of movement points, you need to wear light armor. And that's just all there is to it. So, you know, this is fine for us, but it's going to crush our stealth and our movement points, all right? So we can wear it if we're concerned, but if we want to be sneaky, we shouldn't. Now, in this situation, we're in a tutorial, and we're fighting bots, so it's fine to wear it, but we might not want to be wearing armor like that normally. And then we open this, and we get some EMP grenades, okay? I'm going to double-click these just to show you can click and drag or double-click. Now, the EMP grenades we want to equip. When I mouse over it, you'll see how the yellow box appears on the left of my paper doll on these utility slots. Now, most people would only have 2, but because we took quick pockets, we get 3. You can get belts that would allow you to have more slots. Right now, we're just going to drag these over, and once I do, look down here at the bottom of the action bar, you'll see the EMP grenade is available to me. So I'm ready to go. Okay, I'm going to wear this armor. I'm going to double-click on it. You can see that your character actually changes how they look based on what they're equipped with. That's the awesome feature of the game, and I am rolling. Now, if you want to see some fun, check out, for example, my stealth. You can see right now that my stealth is now an effective 6, all right? Now, if I go back out and I double-click these clothes and put them on and then push S to open up my skills, you can see that my stealth goes back to 16. So it's modified by the synergistic bonus from other subterfuge categories that I have here, and my agility, perhaps. But the deal is that if I want any of that, all right, I can't wear that armor. Okay, now if I look at my character, okay, and I go into base, all right, you can see that I have 30 movement points and 50 action points. If I wear this armor, you can see that my movement points go down to 12. So, like, I'm not good at moving around, but I'm more durable. So these are the kinds of considerations you have to make. Do you want to be a tanky character that wears big armor, or do you want to wear light armor and have more mobility and stealth? Now, when I played, I was more on the light armor, mobility, and stealth side. But guess what? This game is classless. So if you want to go like, I wear big, heavy armor and I use psionics, go for it. You just won't really be doing stealth. Stop putting points into stealth. Just put points into, armor feats. And focus on making yourself more survivable. Like, you just stand out in the open. You don't care if you're getting blasted or if you can move, and you just try to rain on people from there. That would be fine if you want to do that. All right, so I'm going to click on this. I've opened all of these containers. I've got what I want. I don't really want a melee weapon. I can take one, though, if I want it. All right, and, I can put it over here instead of the gun. And then this way, I can just switch between, my knife or my crossbow, whatever I want. And let's open the door. So you can talk to him about any tips, and he will give you all kinds of great advice, but we're going to skip this. We're going to say, I'm ready, open the gate. I'm going to try to give you the tips, but when you play it, I recommend you read all of that. Now, here we go. Like I said, the game is in real time, so you're walking around, the game's moving, it has a speed. But this is a cool game in the sense that it switches between real time and turn-based in combat. So it can be a little bit clunky or awkward at first, but like if you're in real-time mode, for example, a buff that you get might last for 20 minutes of game time. And it depends on your speed. If you speed up the game, then the time moves faster and the buff will wear off faster. But in turn-based mode, everything is converted from time into turns. So you just need to be aware that there's a transition between turns and time. Now, the first thing that happens in combat is that we roll initiative. You can see everything in the combat log over here to the left. I won the initiative roll, which is tremendous. I'm very happy about that. All right. So here are my options. Right now, I can shoot these sentry bots with my crossbow, if I want to do that, okay? But before I explain firing with the crossbow, I want to just explain something that's so fundamental to understanding the combat system in this game and will save you a big amount of headache, and that is how to interpret what you're doing with the mouse and the color coding of what's happening both on your path for the mouse and in the lower right. So you can see here that if I wanted to move where the mouse cursor is, to the square that's highlighted in red, all right? So this game operates in squares, okay? So like I'm taking up a square, and the tiles on the floor are actually, the boundary of those tiles is indicative of the boundary of the game tiles. And each bot is on a tile, and if I wanted to move to the tile that's in red, where the kind of path ends, I would not be able to move there because I don't have enough action points and movement points to do so. So the color coding is reflective of that. Let's look at the color coding on the map first, okay? So where my character is, there's a yellow line that goes out. The yellow line, all right, are my movement points. Those are spent first for movement. They can only be spent on movement. Movement points are only one way, they're only for movement. Then I can freely exchange action points for movement points. Okay? So what that means is I can move where the green line is by using my action points as movement points. But I will not be able to get to where the mouse is because I will run out of my pool of combined action and movement points right next to that closest sentry bot where the green line ends. And you can see in the bottom right, the gauge is pulsing. Now, if I move closer, the gauge continues to pulse in the lower right, and that is showing you what will be spent by this movement. Additionally, and I mess this up all the time, and I can't emphasize this enough, look at the lower right and the equation that's happening. It's telling you You have 12 movement points because of the armor, right? Moving here, where I have selected, is going to take 27 movement points. That's why it says 12 minus 27. Now, I have 12 movement points and 50 action points. I will take all 12 of my movement points, and then I will take the remaining 15 points from my action point pool to move to this location, and I will then have 35 action points remaining. If I instead move here, it's closer, I will have 43 action points remaining. And if I move just one tile ahead, it takes 5 movement points to move just to this square here. I will have 7 movement points left and 50 action points left. So that's how you understand movement, by looking both visually at the line on the screen and at your gauge. Now, what if I want to shoot with my crossbow? I'm going to push 1, and you'll see that the cursor changes from the movement to a crosshair. It's an X when I'm not looking at a target, but if I target something, it opens up into a pulsating crosshair. It tells you what the percentage is, the percentage chance is that I will hit that target with the crossbow, and it tells you in the lower right, of course, how many points this will take up. This will take up 25 action points to do this action. Now remember, movement points are one way. They can only be spent on movement, so I can't use movement points to fire my crossbow or do any other action. But I can use action points for movement if I want to just fully move away and run or get into a strategic position. Now, from here, what I want to do is actually not fire my crossbow because I'm terrible with crossbows. You can see, open my skills, I put no points into crossbows, so I'm going to be really inaccurate with them. What I instead am going to do is either click my EMP grenade or push Q, and I'm going to try to throw a grenade, alright? Now, you'll see that when I'm throwing a grenade, it opens up this massive red blob. And this big old red blob is showing you every square, every tile of the game field that is affected by this grenade. It's the area of effect. Now, if I move it right here, for example, you'll see that every sentry bot becomes highlighted. There's a white outline around them. Their name becomes highlighted, and then there's a bouncing red arrow above them. And now all of that contributes to indicate to you that they are all in the area of effect of this grenade. But look at the 26%, and this is why I said you want to pump throwing. I only have a 26% chance to throw this grenade here. Now, as I get closer and closer, the chance becomes higher, but now I am in the field of effect. You can see there's an arrow above me, okay? That is not what I want. I don't want to hit myself. I want to hit them. I might not, but I'm going to try anyway, okay? So this square right here gives me the highest chance to hit and hit all of them, okay? So, actually, no, if I target here, it's 32%. Let's go for this one. So I'm going to try to throw a grenade right here. It's going to take only 15 action points to do this, and I'm going to throw. Now, I missed, but I still hit 2 of them, okay? So, let's talk about what happened. I threw the grenade, it flew over here, it missed this guy, but it hit these 2. Now, it says right here, I threw the grenade, and I hit one for 35 electricity damage. Remember, the damage types are color-coded. Another for 41 damage, and I also killed his security camera, which is hilarious. So he's going to be upset with me for doing that, and so he can't see what's going on, but I killed his bots. Now, I didn't kill them, all right? They're not dead. If I select a sentry bot, for example, oops, I fired. Okay. Left-clicking on it fires, all right? I meant to just select it so I could show you its character portrait, but that was actually good. I hit. You can see right here it says I hit for 17 mechanical damage, and I would have done that perhaps anyway. Now, look at the sentry bot. You can see its portrait appears right here. This is how much health it has. I'm not going to kill this thing. I'm just practicing, all right? And I have short-circuited it by disabling it with the EMP. So EMPs will stun electric targets for a certain amount of time, and this is why the weapon is so great against them, because it'll take down their shield if they have one, and it will just disable them. Alright, so I'm going to move forward and look into this room, and I'm going to now push enter, and it says you cannot end combat, so all you can do is push the spacebar to end your turn. I'm going to push the spacebar. I'm getting shot. Now, I got shot 3 times, and I took 0 damage from every shot. It says 2 mechanical damage, 1 mechanical damage, 2 mechanical damage. And remember, my armor will resist just flat 10 damage from an incoming attack. So I'm just not getting hurt by that. And that's great. So I could stand here and I could fight them if I want to, all right? I can't use the intercom during combat, but I can try to fire my crossbow again. I have a much greater chance of hitting this guy with the crossbow now that he is immobilized. So I can just, you know, take a couple of shots there and move forward. All right, boom, boom, boom. All right. And I'm going to move over here. You could see it said save 10 action points, by the way, floating up from the sentry bot. That's actually a rather new addition to the game, that if you end your turn with some enough action points remaining, they carry over to the next turn. So there's kind of a benefit for, like, waiting if you can get the rhythm of it right. I'm going to just run over here. Now, I'm going to tell you another thing. Look at my grenade. Like I told you, grenades go on cooldown. Your crossbow does not. Neither does your knife, but grenades, utility things do. This has 4 turns left. It's indicated by this kind of transparency that's over it. This shading will reduce to reflect how much time is left, but you can always mouse over the EMP grenade to get the information about how much damage it will do, how long the stun will last, in this case 2 turns, and how long the cooldown will be. It also tells you how many action points it takes, okay? So very, very great information on the tooltip itself. I'm going to push spacebar and end the turn. Now this guy's firing at me. My God, man. And I'm going to move over here. And I'm going to end my turn and just let them shoot me. And I'm going to shoot this guy. Hit him. I hit him. And not enough action points. We're going to end the turn. And now, after that much time, you'll see that they're all disabled because this is part of the tutorial. This door closes and this door opens. And we get into a new area. Here's the camera. And he says, good job. So that was kind of just practicing. You're not meant to kill his bots, just to kind of practice fighting him. And he says he wants us to pick up items in the locker. A battery, a hacksaw, and 2 lockpicks. All right? So he wants us to use the lockpick to open the door, and then use the lockpick. And so he's showing us how to use lockpicks, okay? And we're going to say, thank you so much. I'm going to skip this, and I'm going to explain it to you myself, okay? So we're going to open the locker. We're going to push A to take everything. I'm going to push I to open my inventory. So we got a battery, okay, which can power something that's electrical. You see this Hacksaw Mark II right here? All right, this is what you use to hack devices. Now, we stink at hacking, but we can get practice at it if we want for the tutorial, all right? Now, you can see that as I look at the tooltip for this, it has 0 energy out of 50. It also takes 5 seconds to use it. Now, remember, that is based on real time. We're out of combat. Combat has ended, so we're back into real-time mode, so everything is in time instead of turns. Every time we use this hacksaw, it takes 10 energy. It can store 50. Now, this battery says that it can recharge 30 energy to an item, and it takes 10 action points to use this in combat. But we're not in combat. We're going to do it like this. We're going to right-click on the battery. We have options. We can recharge an object, okay, which is like a big thing on the environment. We can recharge a weapon, but our weapon doesn't require a charge. Or we can recharge an item, which is this lightning bolt, which is what we want to do. We select this, and then we get a crosshairs, and when we select something that we can recharge, it will turn from an X to a lightning bolt, and we're going to charge the hacksaw. You see a progress bar fills up above our character head, and now we have 30 out of 50 energy on this. I'm not going to use this again because it'll waste 10 energy overfilling it, and you will not have a battery left, a lithium cell left with 10 energy waiting for you. It will consume the entire thing, so you need to be really careful with using the right size battery for the job. All right, so we're going to open this door, and it's locked, and it says requires a lock picking of 1. So all we have to do is go ahead and right click on the lock pick, okay, and then if we move the mouse, you see the crosshairs appears, it's an X, and then if we get onto something that we can interact with a lockpick, it'll turn into this lockpicking icon. Now, another thing that we can do is drag the lockpick onto our action bar, okay? I'm going to push escape, close my inventory. I'm going to push 8, because that is the button that corresponds to this. Excuse me. And I'm going to select the door and pick the lock. You see a progress bar appears, and it says we successfully completed the lockpicking attempt. We consume the lockpick, and we're going to open the door. And we are going to move into this room. And I'm going to push tab to highlight everything. There's a footlocker and there's a box. Okay, we're going to open the footlocker, but it's locked, so we need to push 8 and open it. And we disable it so we can open this, and we're just testing, so we did it. Now he wants us to hack this box, okay? So I can right-click on this, or I can drag it down. Notice, by the way, that once I've used my lockpicks up, it just disappears from my action bar. I would need to remap it. And I'm going to put the hacksaw down here just for practice. I'm going to push 7, and it turns blue. And I'm going to just select the box. You see the hacking icon appear, and we're going to try to hack it. And we're going to be able to do this because this is the tutorial, but in the field, we would not be able to do that very easily unless it's like a level 1 hacking thing, because our hacking is terrible. Try to open it, but there's nothing inside. We're just practicing. Move through here, and he says, now for the final room. You've got a sentry bot and a camera. Try to sneak around it if you can. This will not shut down after 1 hit, just to let you know. All right, so we're going to enter stealth mode, okay? By the way, the camera can see you no matter how good you're hiding. So it'd be best if you're able to avoid its line of sight completely, okay? So this is very important to remember, all right? And I'm going to say, I'm going to show you something here. Okay, so while in stealth mode, all characters, friend or foe, will display an icon above their head which indicates whether they can see you. Your skill, proximity to the character, illumination, and even whether you're in front or behind all determine how well they can see you, alright? So that's giving you information about stealthing. And what we're going to do is say, thank you so much, and I'm going to put back on my clothes so that my stealth skill is not terrible. And I'm going to push 9, or just click on stealth mode to go in stealth. And you see that my character is like transparent, and up next to my portrait, there is an icon which says stealth mode, which shows that I'm trying to stealth around. I will stay transparent like this as long as this is happening. Alright, so remember, everything affects how quickly you are seen, the lighting, and your stealth ability, your positioning to the target, all of that, alright? So the camera can see me no matter what, okay? And I'm going to run back here, and nope, the bot saw me, okay? I was trying to talk. I should have not done that, but I've been spotted by the sentry bot, alright? So let's talk about that. The camera can always see you, which means the eye is going to be gray. It's like, you can never hide from me. I will always be able to detect you. Even if you have the best stealth skill in the game, the camera sees you, alright? Now, this guy couldn't see me. His eye was green. If the eye above the sentry bot is green, it's not seeing you. If it turns yellow, it means it thinks something is there and you need to move away. And if it turns red, it means it's detected us. So we're going to just run around here and end the turn, and it's going to follow us and try to kill us. So that's hilarious. And in this case, we can, if we want, move. We can't change our armor. We're in combat. We're just going to move over here and end the turn. And we were not stealthy, so we did a bad job, and we're just going to run away. But we were stealthy for a bit, alright? So, we're stealthy, we're pretty good, but if an enemy is looking right at you and moves towards you, you're in bad shape. You would need to monitor its patrol route and then stay away from it to be in stealth. If I would have stepped over here, it would have just probably driven past me, but I moved up to talk about the camera, and that cost me everything. Now this bot is going to follow me to the end of time, so we're just going to run away. Now we're not going to get killed, and you can't get killed. This is the tutorial. It's not doing that much damage against us, don't worry. We're going to move over here, and he'll open the door. And I'm going to push enter to end combat and just walk through. And walk up to the door and walk out, and we're done. And we can talk to him and be like, and he's all upset. He's like, why'd you kill my cameras? There was no reason to do that. It was inevitable. Man, we never had anyone destroy our cameras before, ever. I'll have to take care of this. Harold will come, or I'll think of something. He's so angry, and he's like, anyway, are we done? And I'm going to be like, I'm done. I'd like to check out my room. I have no doubt you'll like it. I have yet to see any newcomers complain. All right. Nothing more to say than congratulations and welcome to the station, and go and get some rest. Thank you so much. And it fades to black, and we wake up in our awesome bedroom. Okay, so we wake up in our bedroom, and what you notice right away is that all of your inventory from the training facility is gone. You're back to just your clothes, and that's it. And if you push M, you bring up the map. Now, we looked at this before, and it might not be doing much now, but if you go into the upper left, you can click this to look at bigger areas of the map. I don't really recommend you do this just yet. I'm just showing you where it is. But what I do recommend is that if you mouse over Southgate Station, and you see each level, and you see kind of how it's operating with down here at the bottom is the cave tunnel, and then as you move up this kind of high rise, you see I'm on this level now. You can tell what floor you're on the map, or what square of the map you're on by the orange outline, and it's your private quarters. And you mouse over, and there's information that you can get here, but you can also push shift and left click to enter a custom note. This is going to be one of your best friends in this game, because as I said, no one will really give you quest directions more than once sometimes, and you need to remember what is what, where is where you should be going, where you left an item. So you can definitely put a note and leave as many notes as you want, and then delete them as you want, like, you know, this is my bedroom or whatever, and just leave that there. And then when you mouse over this, first of all, when you look at the map, there will be a asterisk icon with a note, and you mouse over this and you'll see your notes in orange text below the flavor text for the area. This is something that you have to do in this game unless you want to take notes on pencil and paper, or someplace else. This is what I really, really recommend, so you don't get lost, because this game does not usually give you like a waypoint, like, hey, go here and do this and make it easy on you. It is old school. So you're going to need to remember, you're going to need to take notes. The amount of information that's on the map that is given to you by your quest log is usually lacking, so you're going to want to provide it yourself. All right, now let's go ahead and look through the room. If I hold down tab, you can see I've got a footlocker. There's a painting I can inspect. The eyeball just means you can look at it but not grab it. You've got a couple of lockers. There's a light switch we could turn on if we want to make it brighter. Which is great, and I'm actually going to speed it up all the way to 5 so I kind of walk around a little bit faster here. I'm in Southgate Station. I'm not in danger of being in a fight, so I like to have it sped up, and I just push plus on the keyboard to increase the speed, minus to decrease it, or in the lower left use these speed up and slow down arrows. You can also use control and the mouse wheel to do that. Now, I'm going to open my desk, and you'll see that I've been given 200 credits, a compass, okay, which is very useful, and a key to my bedroom. And I'm just going to push A and take all of it. Now I'm going to push I to go in my inventory. You'll notice that now that we're kind of away from the temporary inventory, let's talk a little bit about our primary inventory. We talked about the paper doll, the utility slots, sorting items, and the like with these tabs, but in the upper left, you'll see that it says 2 out of 160. What this means is I can carry 160 units of weight, okay? And before I get encumbered and get minuses, and eventually we'll just not be able to move. So if I look at the compass, it weighs 0.1, credits don't have a weight, and the key card doesn't have a weight, but my clothes weigh 2. So add your equipment to what you have in your bag, and that gets your weight. Now, this is why I boosted strength and why you need to think about managing your inventory because of weight, especially with this character who's not going to be super strong. Now, we have 2 lockers here. If I open a locker, you can see that in this locker, I'm given bandages and 3 health hypos. I'm going to push A to take all of these, and we're going to talk about it. See, my weight goes up to 3 out of 160. I get bandages, which are used to restore your health, but you can only use them outside of combat. You just sit there and you stand and apply them, so you don't want to apply them when you're about to get into combat because it will knock you out of doing this. You have to tab a little time to put these on. And remember, we have the Doctor feat, so we're better healing with these items. And we have a health hypo, which you can use during combat, but this is the key. It takes 10 action points to use this in combat, and it has a cooldown of 6 turns, which means if you get hurt and you want to heal yourself, you can do it, but then next turn you can't heal yourself again. You can actually have to wait 6 turns, so you really have to plan how you're going to heal yourself. You can't use bandages in combat. You can only use health hypos and other items, and they have cooldowns, so you got to be aware of that. All right. Now, if you want, you can slot these into your action bar, and I actually like to do that. And let me show you how I do that. If you hold shift, okay, you'll see that I have numbers 1 through 9 here. If I hold shift, you'll see that my action bar becomes shift. If I hold control, my action bar becomes control 1 through 9, shift 1 through 9, marked by S and C. And on shift, I'm just going to drag my bandage down here and my health hypo down here as well, just to have quick access. It doesn't matter. You can always just get to it from your inventory, but I like doing that. Now I'm going to go into this locker, and we're given a whole host of items. Okay, I'm going to open this up. We got flares, which are quite useful. I'm going to put them right here, okay? And let me put them in my bag first of all. And then I'm going to take everything. I'm just going to push A and take all. All right, now flares are phenomenal because they light up an area that's dark and reveal stealth targets. This isn't always important, but if you're fighting something that's stealth, it can be a nightmare. So I'm going to put them down here just to use them if I want in the field. I've also been giving a mechanical and patching repair kit. The patching kit repairs fabric durability, and the mechanical repair kit repairs mechanical durability. If you hover over an item, you will see that based on its type, okay, so my shirt and pants, for example, are fabric. It'll say durability. It'll give the max value, the current value, and it will say in parentheses what type it is, and you need to use a corresponding kit to fix it. Now, we could equip this Rat Hound leather overcoat, and I'm going to actually do this, okay? Now, some equipment has stat and skill bonuses like this one. This will decrease our persuasion by 3, which we're already terrible, so not a big deal, because people don't like you, they don't trust you if you're wearing this, but it boosts your stealth by 10. So, interestingly enough, right, if I look at my skills right now, my stealth is 16. And if I wear this, my stealth goes to 23, right? So it's not a plus 10 because I am losing a percentage of my stealth based on the armor penalty of the Rat Hound leather overcoat, but it's worth it. I'm going to mitigate 3 mechanical, 2 cold, or the percentage, depending on which is higher. This only weighs 5.5, so it's not enough. It's full durability, and I like having it on. It boosts my stealth. I feel much safer with it on than just clothes, like a shirt and pants. Okay, so now I've checked here. Is there anything on my shelves? There is not. And you can look at this artwork to get some fun descriptions. You can check the footlocker by your bed. It's empty. Now, why am I pointing all this stuff out? Because this is storage for you. If you get too heavy, you don't want to carry something with you, put it in your storage. I'm going to push shift on this, and I'm going to split this mechanical repair kit into a stack of 2. These weigh 1, and I'm just going to put 1 away. So I'm going to go to this footlocker right here, and I'm just going to put away my shirt and pants by pushing Alt and left click and Alt and left click on this kit and putting these away, reducing my weight a bit and storing these for later. Now, here's something you need to know about storing things in this game. Number 1, no one will ever come in here and take these items. so they're good forever. There's only a few points in the game and where you can't come back because of the story. You can't come into Southgate Station for a bit, or I'm not going to spoil anything, but just this gets closed off, or you can't travel from the location you're at or whatever. So you have to be aware of that potentially, but for the most part, you can use these as storage indefinitely. But you don't have to be as organized as this. You can simply dump things on the ground, and in fact, I do it all the time. Just make a huge pile, dump stuff on the ground, and it will never leave. No one will ever steal it. So you can leave stuff on the map. It will never despawn. You will always be able to go pick it up. So if you have a bunch of stuff that's like loot from combat that's too heavy, just leave it there, and then push M for your map, shift left click, and make a note, and just say, hey, I left a bunch of treasure here. Go back and get it. I find that to be very helpful. All right, and let's check the personal computer, and we got some email messages. We're just going to read these. We got a message about our key card, and we got a message about Tanner, and he's telling us what to do. So he wants us to go to his office. We're going to exit. All right, if I push N for notes, it says talk to Counselor Tanner in his office in the Commons on level 3 of the Southgate Station. So if I push map, I can see level 3 is level 3 here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 here, 4, 5 commons. Okay, 6. So I don't know how they count the levels, but this is the commons right here, all right, where his office is. And so, welcome to Underrail, baby. I guess this is level 3. Maybe these aren't stacked as layers on top of each other. Maybe some of these are behind the other and are a sub-level of a current level. But anyway, this is level 3. The commons, and that's where you need to go. It's not marked. It's just explained in your quest log. This is an old school game. You're going to need to talk to everybody, explore everywhere, look at every clue to figure out where you need to go often. Okay, you can always look at the wiki. The wiki is super helpful for explaining exactly what to do on every quest in the game. I avoided doing that for the majority of my playthrough because I like to play spoiler-free. It is entirely up to you. Don't get frustrated. You can look if you want, but the information is there. This game just demands that you look harder than modern games, okay? So I'm going to push tab. I've gotten all the stuff I want out of here. I can even turn on the light out here if I want my outer chamber to be all lit, and we're good to go. I'm going to open the door. We unlocked it with our key card, and here we go. By the way, I meant to say about key cards, they take no weight. You can always carry them, and you don't ever need to drop them, so you might as well. You can sort by plot-related items by clicking this, and you'll see this is a plot item, or you can sort by non-plot, or however you want to organize these items. You can click sort to kind of kick them around, and that is entirely up to you how you want to do that. Okay, so now if I look around, I am now on the common or the bedroom chambers area, and you'll see that all these doors are red, meaning you can't go in here. Now some of them, like this one is yellow, right? But it's locked. Now I could try to pick this lock if I wanted, but I have no lock picks, and there are security cameras everywhere, so I don't recommend you mess with this. All right, you see I'm on level 5, so if I go to the map, I'm on level 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll see if any of this makes sense. Click on the elevator, okay? Indeed, right? It does say right here the commons is level 3, so these correspond to the right levels, right? We're on level 5 currently, and it starts at level 1 at the top, and you can go all the way down to the bottom, level 9. We're going to go here to continue with the quest. All right? Now, this is the cantina where people are eating. You can push tab and see who you want to talk to. There is notable people like Jack Quicksilver, Arlene, they have names. Ethan, you can talk to these people. Venzel, the guy who just worked with you in the training facility. And talk to everybody. Have fun. Explore. That's what this game is about. But for the tutorial, I'm just kind of streamlining the process, moving quickly to show you content. We're going to talk to Tanner. The green text is always just exposition and description. And here we go. And he says, you know, you're in, and do you want to do something? And I'm going to try my best not to disappoint. That's good to hear. And he says he has a job for you. He has some field work. And we say, ready and able, so what's up? And he says, there's multiple events I need you to take part in, but one at a time. First, you can have your weapon back. We need to go talk to Lucas and the armory to get it. And while you're there, you might want to drop by the shooting range and practice a bit. Speak to Gorski if he's there. He'll help you practice, okay? And understood. And what's the field work? Down in the tunnels below the station, just north of the Crossround Caves, lies a series of outposts. These outposts were built by another station a long while ago for the purpose of scouting and defense. In time, they fell to decay. I want you to retake them. So he wants you to go retake these outposts, okay? Harold from engineering says he thinks he knows how to get the generator operational, so we need to stop and talk to him first, okay? As far as I'm aware, there's 5 outposts plus the one with the generator. You don't know if it's possible to get all of them, but he wants you to try, okay? And you can ask, like, how much you're going to make. You're going to say you can get more story, like, why are we doing this? Or you can just say, I'll do it. Thanks a lot. So, again, I'm moving really fast. He just gave us nothing. Oh, that's just people in the cantina eating food. Mushroom brew, eel sandwiches, delicious. Now, if I push N, I'll open up my quest log, and you'll see that I need to talk to Pascal, and I need to talk to Harold. All right, so those are my 2 people to talk to so far. But I also need to go to get my weapon back. And this is what I'm talking about with Underrail. Pay attention to every piece of quest information they give you. Write it down, because sometimes it's not there. Sometimes they'll repeat it, or the quest log is perfectly helpful. Other times it's more opaque, and you need to be paying attention, or you will, you know, resort to asking people like I did on the YouTube comments, or getting help on the wiki. So let me first go to medical, and I'm going to go to medical for this reason. I want to talk to Pascal, okay? And I also want to go to Psionics. So I'm going to go over here, and it's locked. And you're like, what? How could that be locked? And it is surprising. We're going to go over here. Boom. And let's talk to Pascal. And he says, you're going to love it here. And he wanted to talk to you about the tests. And he says, is there something wrong with me? And he tells you that you have psionic potential. So this is important, because this is how you're going to get your psionic abilities as a psionicist. So if you put points to get psionics, this is where you need to go if you want to pursue that path. Now, I am not 100% certain. I think you have to have attributed points to the skills for psionics for this to open up, but it may be that it opens up for everybody, and because this is a classless game, you can do it with everyone. I'm not sure. I've only played it one way, but this is what we're doing. And we say, how much potential? And he says he's not sure, and he's happy about it. And this is great. I can't, how do I realize it? And he wants you to use this inhibitor and take a pill and swallow it. You can talk to him about it. You can get all the story you want. I'm just going to take the pill, and oh my God, I pass out. I'm dead. Game's over. Oh, wait, no, here I am. And my head hurts. What in God's name happened? And disabling the inhibitor on us that was blocking our psionic abilities caused a psionic surge, but we're all right. And he says that we could become quite good at it. He hands us a pair of synergies filled with blue liquid. These boosters will increase your recovery rate. And we say, great. And you can persuade him to get more, but we are terrible at persuading, so we can't. And I want to learn abilities. And he tells you who you can talk to in the station to train you. And he tells you to go to Argonomy, and he tells you to go to talk to Bisson down below. And boom, 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 Ezra. Okay, so we're going to talk to all of these people. Ethan is the practitioner, but he's not here. Oh, that's right, he is up in the bar, so we can go get Temporal. So whatever I said in the beginning about Temporal, apparently you can get it at the start. I just didn't pay attention to it with my run at the start. So you can go ahead and get it if you like. And where can I get boosters and inhalants? He can sell them to you, right? And I'm out. Okay. So what did he give us? He gave us 4 inhalants, okay? And he gave us 2 psi boosters. Now notice we now have a psionic bar. This is a little bit complicated, but let me explain it to you. You have a psionic current pool of psi points, which is 100, and then you have reserves of 500. Once you burn through your 100, you will regenerate that 100 using your reserves. Once your reserves are empty, you cannot regenerate anymore, and you will have to use an inhalant to restore your reserves and your current psi points. The booster will restore instantly psionic points to you, so you don't have to wait for it to heal, to restore over time like in combat. But, number 1, it has a cooldown just like potions, but only 3 turns, or health hypos rather, and you have to pull these psi points that the booster is healing of your psionic points from your reserves, and if you don't have any in your reserves, you only get them at 50% efficacy. So it's like, yeah, you know, or efficiency. You will get half of 75, basically, if you don't have it, and that's a bummer. So psi points and managing them is actually a big deal early in the game when these things are very expensive. You'll see that this is value 2,000. Now, we'll talk about buying and selling in a little bit, but for now, just know that that's extremely expensive. I only have 200, right? I mean, like, theoretically, 200 credits, and this costs 2,000, but wait a minute, this says value 2,000, so it's the same as this. And that's when the economics of the game get really complicated, but let's just keep what we have right here. And I'm pleased, and I'm going to go and say thank you, Pascal, and let's go have some fun. So we're going to now go over here, and we're going to go to Engineering and Cyber Labs, okay? So I'm going to go here because I want to open this door right here, and I want to go over here, and I want to talk to Ezra right away. And I want to talk to him about mind control, and I'd like to learn from him and just stare back at him, and then he's going to like go into your mind, and you can try to wrestle control of your body using will, and his will is too strong, and you stand there, he's in your mind, he's looking, and he makes a determination on whether or not he wants to train you, and he puts us on this aisle right here with no idea of how we got here. Oh my god, here we are. And what are we supposed to be doing? Okay, the first thing you want to do is note that you have this ability right here called Neural Overload. So you don't see it right now, but there's a bad guy over here, which is a Azura die, okay? And I'm going to right-click on the Azura die. Don't left-click or it'll do something like I showed you before. Right-click on it to bring up its portrait. It has 50 health, and it has 100 psionics. These are like basically psionic beetles, and they have they present a difficult encounter for you, but we have some psi powers that we've been temporarily granted in this dreamlike world that Ezra has put us in. So I'm going to actually drag this down here. I'm pushing F to get to the invoker, or you can click this little quick invoker icon down here. And I'm going to push 2 for thought control and target the Azura die. Now, what does this mean? It's showing me 2 things, okay? It's showing me, number 1, that I can target it, okay? Because of the kind of pulsing lines that are around in a circle on the Azura die. And then it's telling me it's going to move me up a little bit so that I'm within range of using this ability and I have line of sight on the target. Both are necessary. So it says it's going to take 8 movement points and 18 action points to use this ability. How do I know that? I'm looking in the bottom right. It says 27 movement points minus 8, okay? And gives us 19 total movement points, and 50 action points minus 18 gives us 32 left over. The gauge is flashing to show us how much of our yellow and green points are going to be taken up by using this. If I mouse over Neural Overload, which is this ability, we're going to short-circuit the nervous system of a living target and deal 13 to 18 electrical damage, and it's increased by 10% for every target life point of intelligence above 5. So this is better against more intelligent beings. It cannot be shielded and bypasses standard electrical resistance. but can be lowered by the target's resolve. So we're going to try this right here, and we blast it, and you see we did 13 electrical damage to it, and we have enough to use this again, so I'm going to push 2. By the way, you can also see this takes, I'm looking at the tooltip in the bottom left, 18 action points to use this, 15 psi points, and it has a range of 6.0. Okay, so we're in range. We don't need to move again to use this. We just need to use action points. It'll leave us with 14 left. We blast it for 14. We're done. I'm actually going to move back here to see if we can hide from this thing behind these stalagmites. I don't know. I'm going to push space to wait, and it's blasting us back, but not for as much. So we're in a battle of neural overload, and I'm going to hit this guy again, and I'm going to do it again. Boom, and we killed it. And now we're about to pass out. And we wake up in our bedroom, which is troubling, right? Now notice, look, that actually used my psionic points. You see, over time, both my health and my psi are restoring over time, and now my reserves are at 440 out of 500, and my psionic points are all the way up. You can see, by the way, that in parentheses next to my current psi points, there is a plus 12, which means how much I regenerate per turn. So I regenerate quite quickly. And we're going to go back and let's talk to Ezra again. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to go back to the Cyber Lab. And we're going to be like, what have you done, my god, man? And what did you do to me? Only what you wanted. Consider it your first lesson free of charge. So he trained us for free with neural overload. So this is fantastic. If you are a psionic user, talk to all of the psionic trainers so you can get one free ability, but other abilities will cost you. So if you say, I want to learn more, he'll say, hey, I can train you, but we can't learn these right now because our skill is not high enough. We would need to train up thought control and be at least 3rd level to get these abilities, so we can't get them right now. We're going to say never mind. And you can talk to him about story, or you can trade with him, and he will sell you some psionic headbands, which might be good, like the Unipsi headband, for example. Right here, it increases all psionic skills by 8, which is fantastic, but you see it costs a bajillion money, credits. Let's talk about that. The barter system in this game is one of the most complicated systems in the game. I know that seems odd, but it is. And I'm going to walk you through it because it's really difficult, especially for new players, to understand. I was completely mystified by this when I first started playing. So let's talk about this barter from top to bottom. So I'm trading. At the top, it'll tell you who you're trading with, and then he'll say what he wants, which means this is the only stuff he will buy from you. 3 electronic parts, 6 psionic components, 4 headgear components, 3 pairs of goggles, 2 blueprints, and he'll always buy batteries. So when he says 3 electronic parts, he means that. He means, like, I will buy 3 and no more. Now, this will replenish over time, but for now, he's like, I will only buy 3. What you can sell to him will be highlighted in your inventory. So nothing right now he will buy. It's all grayed out because he doesn't want any of this stuff. So trading in this game, bartering, is really complicated because you have to go to the right type of merchant to be able to offload your goods. Moreover, in the upper left of his stash, you'll see how much money he has. This is how much money he can pay you, and this is all he's got. So if you're looking to get straight SGS credits from him, which is the currency that they use in Southgate Station, but not the currency that they use elsewhere in the game, okay? You can exchange currency usually. We'll get to that later. But that means that, like, if you want to sell him something really expensive, he can only give you 500, and that's all he's got until he replenishes his money. So instead, you would have to trade him for items, okay? So let's say I did want this headband. I can double-click it, all right? And it goes down here into the requested box in the lower left. And this slider indicates how far in the red he is. He's like, absolutely not, because I'm not offering him anything, which is indicated in the lower right box. Now, what I always like to do is just click auto. Okay, and this will show you, like, it just automatically offers what you can to him. And I can give him 200 credits. And you see that this bar has moved up to here, but he's not going to accept that. He will not accept a deal from us until this is exactly in the middle or in the green. So we can't afford this right now. So why I mean this is complicated is, number one, he'll only buy these things. He only has this much money. But moreover, if I mouse over this, you'll see that it has a value of 4,720. What does that mean? Do not ask me. It's just a number, okay, that's big. Now, my money is worth 200, but this does not mean that this cost 4,720 money, because my money is worth 2,000. So my money is actually worth 10 of this unit per piece of currency. So it takes a second to get your head around how much things actually cost. But what I always do is just put it in the requested box and then offer it, and then, you know, try to negotiate until it's favorable. Now, let's try something cheaper. Let's say I wanted to buy the blueprint to make my own psionic headband. No, I can't afford that. How about this? A taser, okay? A taser is actually pretty good. So let's say I double-click this, right? And I can buy a taser. Now, it's going to cost 500. But if I click auto, okay, the game will do its best to put this right in the middle so it's a fair deal. And 500, remember 10 per credit is 50 credits. So I could actually buy this from him straight up for 50 if I wanted to. I don't want to, but that would be a fair deal. And then all you need to do is click trade and you would make that exchange. I'm going to reset this, though, and kick everything back. I'm not going to buy anything from him right now. I'm just showing you how that works. We have other things to do. So now what I want to do is, all right, I'm going to go to some of the other psionic trainers, okay? So let me go to the lower Underrail station. And remember, I'm skipping a lot. If you were playing this game, you should talk to everybody, talk to all these people, get information from them, learn about the game. It's a story-driven game. You're going to want to know the story. It's awesome. I'm just quickly showing you where to find things because navigating this is really difficult. When you see blue, that means you're changing zones, usually going up or down stairs, but into a new area, basically, all right? I will tell you this. Do not go down these steps. Do not leave Southgate Station right away. Get your abilities all set up first. All right, now we're going to go to this screen. Red also changes areas, but it's within the same kind of zone. All right, it's not like I'm loading into a new area. So I'm still within Southgate Station. By going into a red, it just changes the square of the map. I'm going to walk over here, and this is my dude right here, Bisson. Remember, you can hold tab to highlight everything. I'm going to talk to Bisson. And well met, and can you teach me some psi abilities? And he says, I can teach you psychokinesis. And he says, I'm afraid I'll have to charge you. That's all right. What can you teach me? So, he can teach you punch, and the other abilities we can't learn. So we can learn punch, and remember when I said they're free? Apparently they're not. He's going to charge you 50. That's why I'm not spending money. It's been a while since I did this, so he is going to charge you, but that's okay. 50 credits for telekinetic punch is well worth it. Telekinetic punch is a bread and butter ability. I used it from the beginning of the game until the final boss. I used it for everything. Every fight, I always had telekinetic punch innervated, I believe, except for very weird circumstances. It's an amazing ability. Just say, yep. And he's going to teach us how to use it. And boom, we have it. And it says in the lower left in the log, Psi ability gain telekinetic punch. You push F to bring up the quick invoker, and here it is right here, telekinetic punch. I'm just going to drag it from the invoker down to the action bar, and it says right here, telekinetic force strikes the target, dealing mechanical damage and stunning it for 1 turn unless it passes a fortitude check. This is why this ability is so unbelievable. It stuns, so it's like crowd control and damage. It doesn't take very many action points, which is amazing, but it takes actually a lot of psionic points, 55, which is substantial. It does have a cooldown of 3 turns, whereas Neural Overload has no cooldown, okay? but it doesn't stun. Now, another thing I want to show you is I'm going to push P to bring up my Psi abilities screen. You'll see that there's an ability, it looks like a big brain, and here's all of the abilities I have learned, and here's all the ones that I know. Right now, what this screen is telling me is that at max, I can memorize 8 psionic abilities, or innervate and invoke 8 of them, but for now, I can only innervate 2 because I only know 2. Now, currently, with what I have, I can get 5 max, so these green stars means these are available slots for me to use, while the lock means I need to raise my intelligence or get items or other things to open up my psionics. Alright, so now we've learned this ability. We can't learn anything new from him until we level up and increase our skill threshold so that we can boost our psionic skills to train those abilities. And I'm going to go back to the elevator. Baby-dabba-deep. And let's see. Let's go to Argonomy, or Agronomy. I always say that wrong for no good reason. And let's open this door and talk to Quentin. And he doesn't want us to get the toxin. And I say, I'm told you can teach psionics. And he says, you interested in learning? And you say, yes. And he says, I can teach you, but he wants me to perform a task. What is that? I'm conducting research on rat hounds. And he wants us to get a rat hound, or he wants some research done. So we say, what do you need me to do? He wants us to shoot a crossbow and collect a tissue sample from around its wound once it's dead. If you don't have a crossbow, you can borrow mine. And it's in the locker over here. All right. And we say, and if I do this, you'll teach me for free. I'll teach you 1 for free. You'll have to pay for the rest. And we say, I'll do it. Now, if you have good mercantile skill, you can try to get 2 for free. I don't. I'm going to say I'll do it. And he says, here's the bolts. Nod and leave. Okay, so we definitely want to do this quest because we need more psi abilities. I'm going to open this and just take his crossbow. So now, I'm going to go to the armory. And I'm going to talk to my dude down here, Lucas, and I'm going to say, I like it here so far. Can I have my weapon back? And he says, yeah, you had a pistol and some ammo. And I can be like, no, I had a crossbow, or I want a knife. I'll take a pistol, that's fine. And then you can see what he has if you want to buy something. And he tells you to go find somebody. And got it. And then he's like, hey, before I'll sell to you, he wants us to go do something. Okay, fine. And Harold says, we need to talk to Harold anyway, so we'd have to double dip and talk to Harold. Now, you can go over here if you want and talk to Gorski and learn all you want about how to fire weapons, but we're good. I'm going to go to my inventory. I'm going to select the crossbow, okay? And I'm going to put the putrefying bolt over here for my crossbow so that I have the special bolt ready. I'm not going to probably use that on a rat hound. I'm just going to have it ready. All right, and we're going to go to the cave tunnel exit and the docks. Now, what am I doing? Oops, wrong button. Lower Underrail is where I meant to go. Okay, so lower Underrail, I'm going to go here back to where Bisson was, and I'm going to try to find a rat hound. Why am I doing this? I'm doing this because I want to complete the quest to learn more psionics. All right, so here we go. Now, take a look at the screen. You see how they have these auto turrets right here, all right? And you'll see how there's guards right here with sandbags. That's because if I go here, I'm about to go into hostile territory. I would save your game right now. I'm going to quick save it with F5. And I'll explain to you why you want to do this. It auto-saves the game, and you get 2 auto-saves in this game, which is tremendous. But you want to be careful. I'm going to push 9 to go stealth. And I'm going to walk onto the next screen. Now, I'm going to kind of creep around here. I'm going very slowly. I'm pushing tab. There's some barrels. Let's check out what's in here. Nothing. Nothing. Oh my gosh, wait, it's something. It's our first oddity. So, we're in Dangerland, which means we can start finding oddities, but you can also find oddities in good places if you explore, providing that you're not stealing when you're looking around. And read the lore, which is in gray text, and it tells you in kind of very light blue text or light green how much experience it gives you and how many times you can study it. Now, what this means is oddities are fantastic, but there's only a certain amount of them that you can learn from. So if I find 8 Protectorate propaganda, I will get 8 experience, 1 for each, but then if I find a 9th Protectorate propaganda, it will give me nothing. So you only get it for a certain amount, okay? So be mindful of that, and I got it, and it says down here you gain 1 experience for studying an oddity to Protectorate propaganda, and down here on the bottom you can see that this bar has filled up 1 out of 4 for me getting to the next level. If I go up here and open the oddities, you can see all the oddities you've collected if you want to read the lore or look at them again. I'm going to open this barrel, and there's nothing in there. Now you'll see that every barrel you've searched, it says empty in parentheses to help you remember, okay? I'm at full speed. I'm going to walk around over here. And I'm looking out for rat hounds. We're trying to find a rat hound that we can kill easily, okay? Do not go down there. I would not recommend it. All right, and you see a rat hound crawling around over there? I'm going to crawl up just a little bit, and I'm going to push enter immediately. Okay, so what happens when you push enter is I'm in stealth. This guy has a green eye. He cannot see me. The advantage of pushing enter means that I get to start combat. Now, the disadvantage is I don't get any movement points. I only get action points to use, but the advantage is I get to go first. If you're in stealth and they can't see you and you try to use a psionic ability on it, but you have not yet started combat, do not make this mistake, because what happens is the enemy will have a chance to see you, and you will come out of stealth as soon as you use your ability, and your enemy will react to that, and if they beat you on initiative, they will get to act before you get to use your ability and neutralize your initiative gain. So you don't want that to happen, so you just bite the bullet and push enter when you're ready to fight, and I'm ready to fight right now, okay? So I'm going to push 3 to use my telekinetic punch, okay? And if I do this, okay, I'm going to have to step a little bit forward because the range is bad on Tele Punch. And I'm going to just hit this guy. Boom. And we stunned him just like that. All right. I have 19 action points left, so I'm going to use push 2 and use my use my neural overload on him. And bam, blast him for 14. I'm going to step back just a little bit. I'm going to push spacebar. Now this other rat hound wants to get in and fight us, which is terrifying. Okay. I'm going to push 2 on this rat hound, and it's almost dead. So at this point, I'm going to push 1, and I'm going to try to fire my crossbow at this guy. I'm going to push Q to use the putrefying bolt, okay? And if you have a special bolt that you want to use, you kind of have to select it from your utility slot that we put it on. I'm going to push Q. I'm sorry, I misspoke when I said 1. I forgot that I need to use the putrefying bolt. So now we have it selected. It's in blue. And I'm going to target this guy and try to get the kill shot. We missed. I'm going to be sad about that, and I'm going to run down here to try to minimize how many attacks that they get on me. Okay. And there's a bunch of them, right? So this is getting really scary. So now I'm going to push Q, and I'm going to try to hit this rat hound, and we killed it. Okay? So the rat hound is dead. And now I'm going to run. And I'm going to put everything I can into running away. This part of the game is really, really hard, okay? Because I'm not strong, and I'm running away, and the rat hounds are able to move and attack me at the same time, which is brutal, okay? So I'm going to actually use telekinetic punch on this guy, push 3, use this to stun him, and then I'm going to open my... actually, I'm going to push shift, and I'm going to use push shift 9 to use my health hypo to heal, and then I'm going to run, okay? Now, I can, if I want, slot my psi booster down here if I want to use this, but I don't. I want to show you something very important about the game through this lesson, because this is how I learned it. And we're going to push spacebar. This guy is fighting us. This guy is not stunning us, not stunned anymore, and if I... right-click him and look at his portrait here. It shows you how much health he has, but then he gets this buff called Second Wind. This is totally Important to remember, he gets a short-term immunity to stun effects, so you can't chain stun the same target. He's immune to stun for 2 turns. All right? Now, I'm going to run all the way down here. Okay? And I'm going to try to run away here and do it. Now, I've run away, which is amazing, sort of. And let me explain why, sort of, okay? I'm just going to wait here for a second until my psionics regenerate, okay? And I'm going to push shift, and I'm going to push 8 and use a bandage on myself to fully heal my health. So now I'm at full health, and I'm at full psionics. I'm going to push escape, and I'm going to save the game, and we're going to save it on tutorial. And now I have the game saved. Why am I doing that? Underrail is a game that is hard and does not want to be exploited. So in many games, when you change zones, the enemies will stop targeting you. In this game, the enemies will be waiting for you forever where you left them at the zone. They will never forget that you were there. You cannot stealth to surprise them. They will be waiting for you until the end of time. And I'm going to show you that right now. That's why I saved the game. They won the initiative, and they're already attacking me. Now, the good thing is, you see that this rat hound here, it lost its stun immunity, and its health is still low. So what I'm going to actually do is, I know this might seem counterintuitive, like you might want to crowd control the other one and burn this guy down, but I just don't do enough damage right now. I'm just going to try to focus fire and kill one. So I'm going to telepunch this guy. And even though he's stunned, I'm going to shoot him again with my neural overload and try to kill him. And we did. And now I'm going to try to change zones, but it says not enough action points, okay? I believe... I can't remember exactly how many action points it takes you. Is it 25 to change zones? It requires a certain amount of action points to change zones. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. It says right here, 25 action points. If you look in the lower right... it'll tell you how many action points what you're trying to do takes. And this is very important to know that you need action points to be able to do this, because if you make it here and you can't change zones and you die, you're going to be upset about it. So I'm going to push spacebar and just wait. He's going to get free attacks on me. Now, he's using this pack hunting ability, and he's calling. You saw him, like, holler for help. That's what makes rat hounds really hard. They call other ones for help, and if any of the rat hounds are nearby and can hear it, they will come help out, and they get pack hunting, which means they do more damage when there's more of them together. So that's very difficult, but we're just going to not worry about it. We're going to step right through and use a bandage, S8, heal ourselves up, and we're going to let our psionics fully recharge. Now, this is an expensive proposition, what we're doing here. We're using a lot of bandages, which are kind of costly early, but we have to do this to get psionics abilities, and we need them, so let's do it. And I'm going to walk back on. The other advantage of doing this, even though he gets the free attack and he crit us, even with all of that, the advantage is Telepunch comes off of cooldown. We have full health and full psionics to start with. I'm going to stun this guy. I'm going to blast him, and I'm going to push... I don't have enough action points to do anything left. How many do I have left? 17? Can I... how many does this take? Oh, it takes 29 to use the bolt. Okay, I'm going to push spacebar, and I'm going to shoot this guy with the bolt, and we hit him, and I'm going to blast him there. Now, I'm going to push enter to end combat. I always do this to end combat for 2 reasons. Number 1, it lets your psionics start to regenerate. Number 2, it lets you go into stealth. Number 3, if another enemy is on the screen, it will not let you do that, so you will know, like, oh, there's another enemy. That's why I can't leave combat. So now I'm ensured, at least temporarily, until an enemy wanders in and sees me, that I'm out of combat. I'm going to click on the remains. Now you see we get the putrefied rat hound tissue. That's exactly what we need. And there's some rat hound leather. We're going to take all of this so we can sell it. Here's the remains of the other guy. He has an adrenal gland, and he has rat hound leather. You'll notice that these say in yellow component, which means that these are crafting items. To craft with them, it tells you how high you need your skill to be, and it tells you the value of them and how heavy they are. A lot of the time, Rat hound leather is not worth carrying around because it's so heavy, but because we're so close to the shop, let's do it. And I'm going to walk over, actually, and get the other body. It's still there. It will never despawn. All right, I'm going to walk over here until we find the other dead rat hound. Oh, where did we kill that guy? Well, maybe I lied. Maybe he didn't drop anything. He definitely... Their body doesn't disappear. He just might have not dropped what we needed for the quest, or there's only one of those items that can drop for the quest. But either way, we did it. Okay, now, watch when I walk onto this screen. You'll see how all of these people are red. That means that they know they can see us. We are not fooling them with our stealth. But we're not automatically hostile by being stealthy. They don't mind if we walk through in stealth. They just see us. I'm going to push 9 to leave stealth because you just move slower when you're in stealth. And we got the item that we needed. Now our health is low. We can get our health back by resting or by using a bandage. But I'm going to actually just immediately go and head over to agronomy and run in here and talk to Quentin and say, here's the tissue sample, and he says, give it here, and don't forget my training, and he says, are you ready? And I say, I'm ready, and here we go. Right now, all we can learn is cryokinesis, but that's what we want. This is why this quest is worth it. Teach me cryokinesis, and he's going to train it to me. I'm going to be like, don't forget to say this. I still have a freebie. And he's like, I was hoping you forgot, and then do it. Don't pay him the money. Remind him that he said he'd do it for free, and boom, we have cryokinesis. Push F, pick up cryokinesis, and put this right here. Bam. If you are a burgeoning psionicist, you are doing beautifully. You have cryokinesis. This is another ability. Not every psionicist will do this in the game, but this is one that I used from the very first moment I got it all the way till the end of the game. It's kind of a broken ability because of its efficiency. It has incredibly long range. It takes very few psionic points to use, and it slows targets down. So you can kite enemies, you can blast them from far away. It is wonderful. So we have a slow, we have a stun, and we have DPS to intelligent targets. So we have a great start to our psionic abilities. If I push N, you'll see that now both of our quests are telling us to go talk to Harold to proceed. And we will get into that next time. Everyone, I think this is a great first episode for getting you into the game. We've talked about combat, we talked about the map, leaving map notes, the inventory, the trading system, how to navigate, how to do combat with psionics. We've talked about switching weapons. We did the tutorial. I think we built our character, talked about skills, feats, abilities. I think we have a great foundation, but I'm going to extend this beginner's guide a little bit to just cover some more ground to help get you going in this game, because it is fantastic, and I think that once you get established, you'll be hooked. All right, if you have any questions, I'd love to help you out down in the comments below. If I got anything wrong and you're a pipe worker and you want to leave a non-spoilery clarification that will help new players, that's not too far in the weeds and overwhelming, please do that. I would so appreciate any help in making a resource for new players coming into the game so they can love Underrail like I do. Everyone, thank you for watching. Take care.